Morning, Bill here with Metals Minute. Today is Friday, August 12th, 2022. Well, gold and silver are flat but climbing this morning. Platinum and palladium are higher than they were on Wednesday. And all in all, the metals seem to be performing well for us so far this year. And we have a trend line. The technicians are telling us that gold has bottomed at the place where it looked like it would earlier, and it's right along a trend line that's going up, and so those are good signs. We can't always depend on technical indicators for everything, but it's always nice when it lines up with how everyone generally feels about things, and so that's going in our direction so far here this morning. I want to talk about a couple of other things that are impactful, kind of concerning for us. We've had the inflation numbers out and for July. One number that hasn't gotten as much attention anywhere that I've seen is the difference between the CPI and the PPI. The CPI is the consumer driven index, and that is how are the costs of things looking towards for the consumer in the United States, and we compare that to the PPI, which is the producer's price index, and that is related to what the costs are associated with the corporations and the companies and the businesses that produce things that people purchase. And you usually want to see those numbers fairly certain, and when you see a gap in the PPI north of the CPI, that tends to indicate that there are future cost increases on the horizon for consumers, because it's costing the producers more to make whatever it is they're making. And we are seeing, looking back 30 years, we're seeing the highest gap in that period of time between what it costs producers to make things and what it costs consumers to buy things. And so the PPI is up here, consumer index is here, and that tends to indicate that there's going to be more inflationary pressures in the months and days ahead. And one of those places that's of primary concern is concerning food costs. And we're hearing from just anecdotal evidence from small farmers talking about the increase in the input costs of feed and fertilizer and that sort of thing. And many of them are sounding the alarm about future food costs, just anecdotally, as well as there are some of the professionals talking about it. Something that's bewildering is the pressure on Dutch farmers to stop and slow down food production. They are the #2 food exporter in the world. I didn't know that until just recently, but they are a huge part of the agriculture that's provided to consumers worldwide. And they are being pressured even by some of the banks. Rabobank, I believe is the name of it there. They're putting requirements on farmers. They will not loan them any additional funds unless they have agreed to step back production across the board on crop production, animal, cattle, chicken, hog production. That's where all the meat comes from, is from these animals. And banks are tying future loans to them reducing their food production. Just seems to be mindless. I don't understand that at all, why you would want farmers who are feeding the world to make less food. But we have these strange things going on right now around the world. Another somewhat concerning trend is, a couple years ago there were stories in the media about people fleeing the inflation in Venezuela, and going to Colombia to buy their supplies because they could get them in that country easier than they could in their own. Unfortunately, now there's a story out, I'll try to put the graphic up for you, but people are departing from the southern United States across Southern California. They're dipping down into Mexico to make a lot of their purchases for groceries and necessary items because there's such a difference in price. And so that's an interesting trend. Some could say, well, that's always happened, but we're seeing it on an increasing scale with common items and things that are considered necessities. Just common everyday items, food, milk, fuel, toilet paper, Tylenol, just basic simple things that people use all the time, and there's quite a difference in cost there. So let's just be aware of that, and let's keep an eye on that, and keep in mind that the economic conditions we're in today are those that have traditionally supported higher metals prices in the future. So have a good weekend. We'll stay abreast of whatever happens and keep you informed again next week. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.